Good morning, guys. It's Joe, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I'm joined by a special guest this morning. Jael Rucker's here from Gary V's Media Company. We are going to be talking NBA, NFL. Jael, how's your morning treating you?
Joe, it's been very good, very busy, but very good. I'm just happy it's a bright, sunny day in Charlotte. So just happy because today's the start of the finals, which I know we're talking about. So
These finals are going to be absolutely incredible, Jael. I can't wait to break these down with you. But before we do, let's hear how you got started in the industry.
well, I think my journey probably goes back about even before college. I grew up playing sports. So it kind of became clear to me around junior year that I wasn't going to be able to go pro. I played basketball. I had an opportunity to kind of pursue softball a little bit more, but my heart was kind of set on basketball. So my thing was if I couldn't go pro in that, I didn't really want to do anything else. So my junior year, I started covering our school's basketball teams and our football teams for my high school. And I would just kind of like write for the school newspaper. We would have a morning announcement segment that was kind of like a news show. So I'd be the one to do the sports updates. And that's what I kind of did my last couple years of high school. And then when I went into college, I kind of like tried out different things because, at that age, you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to do. But then my sophomore year of college, I was like, no, I just really want to pursue sports broadcasting. So there was a program called ESPNU Campus Connection. I don't think it's around anymore, but what it did was it allowed students to like cover their school's teams, and you could have your stuff uploaded onto like the ESPNU YouTube page. Sometimes like certain segments would make the actual ESPNU halftime shows for the games. So I was a part of that, and that led to me getting a sideline reporting position at Georgia State for their games on ESPN3, ESPN Plus. I did that all the way up until the pandemic. And then this job opportunity with Gary Vee to write on sports, music, entertainment, esports, and all that opened up because of the pandemic. I didn't really know who I was interviewing for, or what I was interviewing for. I just kind of was like, I put my name in the hat. And because of my experience up to that point, they like really viewed me as a serious candidate. And then when I kind of saw the website and saw it was Gary Vee and everything, I was just like, oh, wow, But I ended up getting the job, and I've been there now for almost 2 years. So that's kind of been my journey in the sports world.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you for taking that opportunity. Fantastic one. What's your favorite part of what you do then, Jael?
My favorite part of what I do, there's so many favorite parts, but I have to say we're a young company who was actually kind of set back by the pandemic. So we only began in 2018, and then it's like the summer of 2018. So we were only a year and a half in, like kind of when the pandemic began. This was before I came. And so like we had the name and the backing of Gary Vee, but it's like we're still trying to build on our own. So we had to deal with the setback of the pandemic when I came. Mm-hmm. And now it's like we're just now getting our feet on the ground in like terms of being able to interview people. But that just I like the feeling of working from the ground up. So it's like each interview we get is a win. So when we got Jimmy Butler, that was a win. When we got Tyler Hero, that was a win. So it's like it just kind of makes it that much more worth it. And so I guess it's just the grind,
Absolutely, it is a grind.
A startup that was set back by, I guess, a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully once in a lifetime, that's for sure. Now, talking about your interviews, who's been the favorite person that you have interviewed?
I'd have to say, I would have to say the most career-changing was Jimmy Butler. Because it kind of like you need that one interview for people to see like, okay, she interviewed this person. So then that opens up the opportunity to be able to interview more people.
Absolutely.
So I would say probably Jimmy Butler is like the most impactful. He's very humble too, like a great guy. But I'm trying to see who else. Like I was just like, oh, this is a great interview. I think I'm still going to stick with Jimmy.
Okay. I think he's a good one to call out for Jimmy Butler. Absolutely. Had a fantastic season. It is too bad that he wasn't able to get the Miami Heat to the finals here, but we did see the Boston Celtics advancing, taking on the Golden State Warriors tonight. This is going to be a great finals. Who are you rooting for here, and who do you think is going to take it all?
I said from the very beginning that I thought it would be nice for the Warriors to win. again. I'm a Cavs fan, by the way. So,
Okay.
for me to be rooting for the Warriors is like, oh my gosh, I never would have expected this. But I think I'm going for the Warriors just because, you had the setbacks with the injuries, specifically Clay's, and there's been like all those doubts about them and their dynasty and especially since like Kevin Durant left and what they could do. And I think for them to get back to the finals and to kind of like be in this position, I would like to see them win. But more than anything, I'm just hoping for a great series because I felt like the conference finals it was lacking in that regard. It was so many blowouts. So I'm just hoping for close games, intense battles. Yeah.
They should be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. But let's turn to the NFL. We have your Atlanta Falcons. What's the quarterback issue looking like there?
You know what? I personally don't think. I think somebody that's probably like more into football, like in a deeper space that covers it regularly, would probably know the better answer to this. But from what I'm understanding and hearing, I'm hearing Desmond will be the quarterback, but I would have to assume that there is going to be like an official battle during training camp before they're named. So I don't know. But the signs seem to be pointing to Desmond. But and then it's also, I think you can't mention the Falcons without also just saying, giving props to Matt Ryan for what he did do when he was there. I mean, because I just feel like Matt Ryan is kind of underrated in that regard. And sometimes he wasn't always dealt the best hand. And it's a harder situation, like when you're actually in it. It's not like the NFL isn't like the NBA where you get multiple chances to try to win. It's like it's one and done. So if you're talking about a one and done situation, it's like anything can happen. Anybody can have a bad game. You don't really have the chance to go back and look at the tape and study and come back and so one and done situations are always tricky, but I think you have to also give props to Matt Ryan for what he was able to do with his time, with the Falcons.
Yeah, you absolutely do. What are the thoughts from the fan base out there of Matt Ryan leaving and Ritter coming in and Mariota?
Well, from what I it seems to be a mixed reaction, honestly. I think there are some people who are obvious, like Matt Ryan diehards, and kind of think what I just said, like he wasn't always dealt the best hand. He was definitely loved by the fans. I think he was a fan favorite, but in terms of him still being on the team, it's a mixed reaction in Atlanta. Some people wanted him gone. They want a fresh start. They want somebody that's a little bit younger. Some people just felt like, it's Matt Ryan, so I think it's mixed.
Okay. And if Ritter doesn't start, do you have faith in Mariota coming up here?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, we've got a question. Realistic expectations for Mariota in the upcoming season. Have any expectations for him? He did play solid with the Las Vegas Raiders when he stepped in for Carr in those situations. We know he can move. We know he can run.
I think it just depends on how it all shakes out. Like realistically speaking, what he's given a chance to do. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a great season for your Falcons. I know to start the season, they have a pretty light schedule, so hoping for them to come out strong.
Yeah. Well, I think I have to also say, too, that I've never had, like, an NFL team that's been my favorite. Unlike basketball and baseball. Like, basketball is weird because I lived in Ohio for a little bit, so I'm a Cavs fan. Baseball is for me living in New York, so I'm a Yankees fan. But I've never been able to have, like, a team that's an NFL team. So right now I'm here in Charlotte, and I'll be in Carolina for a little while. So I'm going to check out the Panthers this season and see how they're, shaking out. But I think I always tend to gravitate, and I know some people are going to roll their eyes at this, but I tend to gravitate towards where Tom Brady goes. So,
so what are your thoughts on Tom Brady? What are your thoughts on this whole, he retired, he didn't retire? I find it kind of funny he came back from retirement on Mahomes' wedding day. It just all was really interesting.
I didn't believe him for some reason. I just didn't, because I know Tom is a competitor. So he didn't win the Super Bowl. And I think he wants to end it winning, So I just always had doubts like, I had doubts from the beginning when he didn't win, this past year. I was like, there's just no way that he's gonna walk out without another ring on his hand. Like, that's just not the perfect ending for him. And then he announced his retirement, and I was like, okay, I guess he's serious. But then I think it was Adam Schefter that broke the news like before he got the chance to announce it. And I said, if not anything else, Tom Brady is going to come back because he didn't get the chance to announce the retirement himself. And sure enough, I think I even tweeted it. I was like, watch Tom Brady come back just because he didn't put the announcement on himself. And lo and behold.
I know. And that was so confusing that whole time period. I was getting messages going, Tom Brady's back. And I'm like, no, he isn't. He's retired. Couldn't believe what I saw. But how do you think his season will go?
I think it'll be very much like any other Tom Brady season. I think he wants to win. I don't know if this will be his last. I think if he does win the Super Bowl this year with Tampa, it'll be his last. He's certainly got a great deal waiting for him in the broadcasting booth. I just don't think he wants to. I just don't see Tom Brady leaving without a ring. I think he'll.
I can't see Tom Brady leaving, Jael. I have to be honest with you. I can't imagine the league without Tom Brady.
I think he wants to leave on top. And there's no better way to leave than with another ring. I mean, we know his legacy is established. He's the greatest of all time, greatest QB of all time. But I just don't think he's going without that ring. So you might have to get a wheelchair.
I think so. That's for sure. Well, it'll be great once he does enter the broadcasting booth as well. Love that perspective from the athletes as they call the games.
Yes.
Jael, where can everyone find you on socials and everything that you have going on?
Well, on Twitter, I am Rucker Jael, so it's my last name and my first name, and then it's just Jael Rucker for Instagram and everything else. So
wonderful. Anything you wanted to promote with what you're doing for work?
I guess just stay tuned for what we're doing with the finals, and then after that we'll have the draft, and also got to give some love to the WNBA because we'll be covering that like a little bit more once like this NBA stretch is done. So it's going to be an exciting time in sports. This is like my favorite period because it's all basketball. Then you have the WNBA playoffs, then football comes back, then college comes back, then basketball comes back. So
when do the WNBA playoffs kick off?
Well, their season just started last month, so that won't be until like September-ish.
Okay. That's fantastic. Okay, well, Jael, thank you so much for joining me on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I appreciate your time today. We'll definitely have you back on whenever you have a chance.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You guys, I will be back at the top of the hour with another Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Thank you, Jael.
Thank you.